Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time. In today's video, I'm reviewing the Kinera Celest Pandamon 2.0. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So yeah, the Pandamon 2.0 here. It's the second version in the Pandamon line. I did not try the first one, so I can't help you if you're looking for a comparison with that. But what I can do is tell you the price of this, which is $59. And inside we have a single 10mm square planar driver, or SPD. Let's bring in the shells for a look, and there they are. Quite pretty, as you would expect from a Kinera IEM. These faceplates, by the way, are hand painted, I believe. So it's available in two colors, the blue and the black. This is obviously the blue, and through the shell there you can see the square planar driver inside. So the build quality is fantastic. They look exquisite. However, the nozzles are a little bit on the short side, so they can be a little bit tricky to get a nice secure fit. This is what the stock cable looks like, silver plated copper, and it is available with either a 3.5mm or 4.4mm termination. Pretty nice cable. Let's go back to the IEMs now, and we'll talk about how the Pandamon 2 sounds. Now, it's a fairly neutral sound signature, and for the most part it does that quite well, but it's not likely to please bass heads or treble heads because it doesn't have super extension on either end. But it might be a refreshing change for anyone who's looking for a kind of a, I don't know, I want to say neutral bright, but at the same time, that's not entirely accurate. We'll get into that in a minute. So let's start with the graph, and then we'll talk about the bass. Now, looking at the graph, if you know how to read the graph, you might think that the Pandamon 2 is light on bass quantity, but that's not actually the case. There is ample bass presence. However, the lows lack texture, and they have this kind of a lingering decay. The sub bass extension is pretty good. It's not exceptional, but it's pretty good. There's plenty of mid bass punch as well, although the attack on bass notes is somewhat blunt or slightly rounded or dulled. Now on to the mid-range, and the mid-range has a slightly thicker tuning with a focus on vocals. Male and female vocals are still articulate, but the upper mid-range's forwardness, it's a very forward upper mid-range, and combined with the attenuated treble, that kind of shifts the tonal balance to something that's overall a bit darker and less transparent. So before I said neutral bright, I was thinking about that upper mid-range peak. Now the mids are fairly neutral, but because of the rolled off treble, the overall tone of the IEMs is a little bit darker. So the treble rolls off fairly steeply after that 2 kHz peak, and this helps avoid sibilance and any excessive brightness, so it's not a sharp or fatiguing treble in any way. But it also means that the Pandamon 2.0's treble is not the most precise, it's not the most detailed, nor is it the most airy. The treble tuning leads towards warmth and smoothness, which will certainly appeal to treble sensitive people and people who prefer a more relaxed and less fatiguing presentation, but not so much for people looking for detail and a really crisp high end. Now, in terms of soundstage and technicalities, the Celest Pandamon 2.0 has got a fairly spacious soundstage, despite slightly lacking precision in imaging and placement. And while the soundstage dimensions are actually reasonably large, the instrument separation and the overall resolution are just kind of average. Now it's time for a quick comparison, and I'm going to bring in the Fine Delchi The Delchi goes for, it can be found for around that same $59 price point. It has a single dynamic driver. Now, the Delchi here, it's got a bolder bass with more bass quantity, but it's also got better definition and texture in the low frequencies. Its sub bass has got better depth and more rumble. It's got more authority, and the lower mid-range delivers a mix of warmth, body, and surprising clarity as well. And that clarity is thanks to its livelier and more elevated treble. And the end result is that the Delchi sounds more dynamic. It has better tonal balance, has a slightly bigger soundstage. It has better detail retrieval and more precise imaging. And overall, I think the Delchi is a better IEM. Look, the Celest Pandamon 2 here, it's kind of more of a niche tuning. If any of you can remember back to the Moondrop SSP and SSR, that's a bit more what this one is tuned like. So slightly more niche in its tuning approach. However, look at those shells, really, really pretty. Overall, I think it's a decent IEM for the money, but it might not be so appealing as some of the other options out there just because it has that rather unusual tuning, even though they do look fantastic. But I'm going to wrap this one up there, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.